Yes, it is the Flyers postgame show. Flyers fall in overtime to the Florida Panthers. They move to 11-0 at home. It's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, and back-to-back for the Flyers. They put up a really good fight against a really good hockey team tonight. They get a point out of it. I don't like the loser point. I know you don't either, Bri, but ultimately Florida able to get it done in overtime.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about the result of this game than the result of last night's game, because last night's game was a game against a good team that was
not here, Brian. For some reason, maybe his mixer needs to be turned up.
There we go.
There you go. Now you sound good. No, as you were saying,
I don't have the experience turning the knobs and pushing the buttons that those guys do. One of these days I'll figure it out. But yeah, it was one of those games where like you said, it's hard to feel good about getting a point, but you feel a lot better about the result of that game than you do about the result of last night's game, where it was just a flat game, especially the last half of it. It's like what it kind of catches you by surprise, because you weren't really expecting to see that in the start of a back-to-back, after having a couple of days off. But like Coatsy said there at the end, that's the one thing the Flyers have done consistently, with few exceptions, one of them being last night, is to show that they can play with the league's best teams. On a night in, night out basis. They generally have what it takes to win those games, and they've won several of them so far this year. This one, unfortunately, they come out on the wrong end of it. But again, a solid effort against a team that nobody else in this league has been able to beat them on their home ice, and the Flyers probably came as close as anybody else has this year.
Yeah, you're trying to corral a monster, an offensive monster, especially the Florida Panthers at home. I've talked about it so many times, 4.8 goals per game. And the Flyers in these low-scoring games have fared pretty well this season. I mean, they got the 2-1 victory over Vancouver early in the season. They beat Washington on the road 2-1 as well. They beat Carolina 2-1. They beat Calgary 2-1. If you would have told me that 2 goals would have been enough to beat Florida, I probably would have checked you into an insane asylum prior to the game. But that's exactly what it would have been had the Flyers been able to get the goal in overtime. But it's Florida who finds that goal.
Yeah, it's just a game of inches, right? And that Cam Atkinson goal was inches away from going in. Caught the inside of the post, and a half inch to the left, and it's over the line. So it's one of those things. And again, we said at the open that we weren't not going to be harping moral victories tonight, but the one thing the Flyers did tonight was hold the Panthers just to the 2 goals, one in regulation, and it's something to at least to have use as a takeaway when you're talking about a team that scored almost 5 goals a game at home this year. That they were able to slow them down and kind of cool the offense off. You look at how you did that tonight, and you take that into games down the road against these other high-scoring teams, starting on Friday against Carolina, and see if you can't do the same thing and come out with a better result.
All said and done, shots in the third period, 12-10 in Florida's favor, and then they give Florida the 7 shots in overtime, none for the Flyers. That Atkinson one hits the post. That doesn't count as a shot, technically. So the Flyers get outshot in the game 45-33. So 43 saves on 45 shots for Martin Jones, 32 saves on 33 shots for Sergei Bobrovsky. Let's get to the BetRivers.com highlight reel. Only not many goals in this game. Flyers open the scoring, though, in the first period. They're at good record when they open the scoring this season. When they score first all season long so far, the Flyers have done really well. As a matter of fact, undefeated when they've scored first. That would get bucked tonight, obviously. But in the first period at 7:33, it's Joel Farabee who opens the scoring, his 5th of the year. And Travis Konecny with that great stretch pass to Farabee, gets behind the Florida Panther D, opens up Bobrovsky, slides it through the 5-hole. Provorov picks up an assist as well. Flyers go up 1-0. That's how the first would end. Pick it up in the second period. No scoring there. So we head to the third. Flyers up by the slimmest of margins, but on the power play, It's Sam Bennett who gets the Panthers on the board. 3:59 into the period, and he evens the score at 1. Yeah, nothing Jones can do on that one. Just a great cross ice pass there. And the Flyers won the draw, but failed to clear, Bry. You got to get that clear out.
That kind of made things squirrely for the rest of the personnel on the penalty kill. Just trying to scramble and kind of recover from that. So it's again unfortunate, but it's what happens when a team like that gets a power play opportunity. Generally, they're able to take advantage of it. Again, you don't like putting them on the power play, but I think the sealer play might have kept a goal from going in 5-on-5 anyway. Right before that, so it is what it is. And unfortunately, it ends up being the one that ends up forcing extra time.
And the amazing thing is, 1-1, that's how regulation would end. And for as, up and down this game was and wide open and chances off the rush and everything else that goes with it, it's amazing. It was a 1-1 game, a well goaltended game for sure. But we head to overtime, and Flyers, they had that one opportunity where Atkinson goes in on the breakaway. The defender for Florida does a really good job there, angling him to kind of force him into doing, kind of coming across, holding the puck on his backhand to protect it. He gets it by Bobrovsky, hits the post, but not enough. As eventually 2:39 into the overtime, it's Aaron Ekblad who picks up the game winner, his 6th of the season. Yeah, Ekblad is able to squirt free there and get that puck and put it by Martin Jones, and that gives them the 1-goal win in overtime, and they move to 11-0. Flyers losing streak now at 4, although they do pick up the point for getting the game to overtime, the OTL, and they'll be back at it coming up on Friday against another really good team in Carolina. But Bri, the thing is, no moral victories, and you get the point and you played well. There are elements of this game that you can take away and feel good about, but it's still just 1 goal on the board, despite a good goaltending performance by Bobrovsky. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, it does, and they're getting the shots to the net. I think if you were to approach this game in quote unquote normal times, meaning the Flyers have scored 3 goals per game in their last 10 games, something average like that, something normal. You're still not going to be surprised if you only score 1 goal against Sergei Bobrovsky. He's just been that good. You're not going to be surprised if you get shut out by Andrei Vasilevsky. He's been that good over the years. So these 2 games, I think they fall in a certain situation where the Flyers obviously haven't scored a ton. And we've talked all of October about how rough November was going to be. They do need to figure it out. I don't think it's something you panic over. As I grab my schedule here, I don't think it's something you panic over until this goal scoring drought continues into New Jersey, Islanders, Rangers. If they can't score goals against those teams, then you've got something to worry about. But obviously they would have liked to have some more goals here in the month of November. They would like it not to be this much of a drought. But again, these are two really good goaltenders on this trip. So I think that when you look at the grand scheme of things, you're just looking for, like you said, quality of chances. And when you look at those at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily look as bad as it does. It's just easier to harp on it when it's a game like last night, when they didn't have any energy and just didn't get much of anything done. But 33 shots on goal tonight for the Flyers. The one thing that I do see that could have room for improvement is 19 of those 33 shots came from three players. Sean Couturier, 8 shots, 6 shots for Travis Konechny, 5 for Claude Giroux. So that's your top line, generating well more than half of your shots on goal. So, in a game like this, those other 3 lines might have wanted to get a few more pucks to the net. Other than that, I think that, when you're going to run into 2 goaltenders like you did on this trip, you're going to have to try to win these tight games, because you're not going to, when the Flyers caught Tampa in Philadelphia, that wasn't typical Andrei Vasilevsky. We were as stunned as anybody when the Flyers were leading them 2-0 after one period on that guy. So, it's just good goaltending, and you roll with it and try to do the best you can against it.
Yeah, and they'll be back at it on Friday. Can travel back in quick order from Florida. Went down early, like you mentioned in the pregame show. Went down on Sunday night, and then going to return here tonight. Do Thanksgiving tomorrow, and then be back at it for matinee coming up on Friday. Let's let our radio audience go right now. Let's thank a few people before we do. We start with our in-studio engineer, Ryan Shuttlesworth, our audio engineer, Chris Ashcraft, the Pancake Man. For Tim Saunders, Steve Coates, Brian Smith, I'm Jason Martinez. You've been listening to Philadelphia Flyers Hockey, a 2-1 overtime loss to the Florida Panthers on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Good night, everybody. See you, Rye.
You too.
All right, and we transfer over to the stream audience, which means we can curse. What the? No, I'm only kidding.
I don't know if our lawyers would like that or not.
We have lawyers?
We have several.
I could have used one. No.
What's very interesting to me is that in this day and age of slashing penalties, and if you tap a guy's stick and it breaks, it's a slashing penalty. The league has been pretty consistent that you can lift a guy's stick to the moon and it's legal.
Yeah.
We were talking about it off air a few seasons back. You can find this on YouTube. Somebody Zdeno Chara put somebody's stick into orbit. It was literally 6 seconds of hang time before the stick came back down to the ice. That's kind of what happened to Joel Farabee tonight. So again, you can lift a guy's stick all you want. You just can't come down on it, I guess. And that's kind of interesting to me that in a situation like that where, the puck is nowhere in the neighborhood. The stick lift has been part of hockey since hockey started being hockey. But that you can lift a guy's stick violently enough to knock it out of his hands when the puck isn't there, and it's nothing. If you were to go down on it when the puck is there and knock it out of his hands, it's a slashing penalty. It is an interesting phenomenon.
If the puck's not there, though, is it interference?
It's not, because you know how it works with, like, the puck's coming around the boards. You go in, you lift the guy's stick so the puck goes right by him.
Yeah,
and that's considered a good play, and it always has been.
It's a hockey play,
hockey play. Yeah, I just the fact that. And I don't think that should be illegal. But in this, you look at a situation like this, Farabee gets relieved of his stick in grand fashion, and then he can't defend against the pass going out to Ekblad that was the game-winning goal. I mean, that was we were looking at it. His blade would have been right there. It wouldn't have gotten to him. So, it is what it is. It's just an interesting juxtaposition in terms of going up under the stick versus coming down on top of it.
I will say that in the overtime, too, the thing I didn't like about the Flyers playing overtime, what 3-on-3 overtime is all about possession.
Right.
And they didn't do a good job of maintaining possession. Konechny, I thought Konechny had a really good game tonight, but he coughed up possession at one point there in overtime. And sometimes it's winning a board battle and then moving it back into your zone. Whatever you got to do to get possession and then get fresh legs on the ice, and that's how you take advantage of the opponent, because you can have possession. I mean, for literally upwards of 2 minutes at times in overtime. That's why you see a lot of times the shots in overtime can be weighted in a certain direction because that team just had possession the whole time. And Florida had possession most of that overtime. Flyers had the one good chance, but they need to possess the puck more.
I know what you're talking about with Konechny, and I didn't see exactly where this happened, but
he was in the neutral zone.
His last shift,
it was long.
Was a minute and 24 seconds. He got stuck out there, and it was exactly what you said, that they had the possession the whole time, and so he couldn't get off the ice. And so I don't know if that was a fatigue thing or what exactly it was.
Well, in overtime too, this. I mean, there's only 3 players aside out there, so there's a lot of hot ice to cover. So the shifts in overtime are far more exhausting than they are at 5-on-5. So
it's funny because if you watch an NHL practice, it is short-sided things all the time: 3-on-2s, 3-on-1s, 3-on-nones. But they do it in one spurt, and then you get to rest. You get in the overtime like this, back forth until you can finally get off the ice. I mean, it's one thing if you're on the attack. The Panthers that were out there for the overtime goal prior to that shift, 54 seconds, minute 4:47. That's not very long in a 3-on-3 when you have the puck. It's when you have to defend against it, or if it's going back and forth, that it gets to be a bit of a bear.
Yeah, I mean, the notion is up, back, off in overtime, and don't dump the puck because it's all about possession. But it's up, back. I mean, you'll be gassed at that point. I mean, even a regular game at 5-on-5, it's pretty much up, back, and off. Because if you're out there working hard enough and moving your feet, then you're going to be you should be tired within 30 or 40 seconds. What do we think of Morgan Frost tonight? I thought he made some plays in the D zone that were really good. I thought he supported the puck well. His positioning on the ice and being on the right side of the puck, both in the offensive zone and the D zone. He made a really good play in the third period down below the bottom of the circles, and that's where the center's got to help down there.
Right.
He was good. I thought he created a little bit too, but I thought it was a good performance for Morgan tonight.
I thought it was too. He was a solid contributor, and we thought he would be in the top 6, and he was. He was on the second line. But I like hearing what you saw, because I've been we sit here, we cut highlights, stuff like that, look away. I didn't necessarily see the defensive play of his game, but I'm glad to hear that it happened, because if you recall, when Frost did not make the team out of camp, he went down to Lehigh Valley and did not have a good start there at all. He was actually scratched for at least a couple of games, I believe. And it was basically because he wasn't doing the things that the coaching staff wanted him to do. And I'm assuming that it's that sort of stuff. So now that he has gone down there and had that hammered in and learned that and done well with that over those 16 games, comes up to the NHL level and displays that here. And that is part of why you want to send a guy like Morgan Frost or Cam York or whoever to the Phantoms for a while, because you want him to go down there and screw up down there. You don't want it to be up on the NHL stage. You imagine what happens if Morgan Frost gets healthy scratched by Alain Vigneault because he's not back checking at the NHL level. I mean, everybody's watching. It can really damage your psyche. So, he went down there, learned that lesson. Apparently has picked it up, and now he comes up here and he's being effective at it at the NHL level. And again, first NHL game, and I don't even know how long. I guess it was a shoulder injury, right? What was his last NHL game, maybe?
Yeah. Last year, it was that second game that he got into last year. So Couturier got hurt in game 2 of the season, and then Frost came in, played a game, and then played, I think, maybe a period of the second game.
Yeah.
And that's when he had the shoulder injury, which eventually required surgery. So he had that to deal with this summer.
Good toe in the water for him, especially if the Flyers are going to need him for a while.
Yeah, and look, maybe he even showed enough. If Broussard's even available for Friday, you could probably go, okay, let's put him in the game Friday, even if Broussard's there. It gives us more depth. It gives us more offense and skill and speed too, which is, I mean, you see how fast Florida is. I mean, they can get up and down there. Verhage blew by Provorov. Provorov didn't have any momentum there, didn't play it well, but he blew by him there and got that great pseudo breakaway opportunity in the third period on Martin Jones, and Jones made a right shoulder or left shoulder save. But you see that speed and looks like in all sports now. I think you need speed. You need speed.
Yeah.
You have to have skill. You have to have speed. In sports today, like look at the NFL. It's all so much speed is involved now. Same thing in the NHL. Got
Yeah,
to be able to skate.
yeah, you gotta be able to skate. You got, especially against teams like this. But it's all about it's the fastest league in the world. It really is, and it's when you get used to it like we are, I think you kind of lose your appreciation for it, and then you see it on display like you do tonight, and you realize, yeah, that really is it. I mean, that's why Connor McDavid is so unstoppable. It really, it's not as much as hands necessarily as it's the ability to execute those hands at the speed that he does. I mean, that's just it. So, the other thing too that I see, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, is the Flyers still have a need to get Oscar Lindblom going.
Yeah.
Tonight, no shots on goal, 10:21 of ice time on the fourth line. I know he's there kind of out of necessity at the moment, but just like Morgan Frost, the fourth line is not where Oscar Lindblom is going to thrive. Hopefully the Flyers can figure something out here to kind of get him jump started, because that would be another boost to this overall offense if he could, start to regain the form that he had a couple of seasons ago, and even last year, for stretches. Just try to figure out where his game is at, because right now it seems to be languishing just a little bit.
Yeah, and some people don't want to hear this, but with Oscar, he may never be the player he was before. What his body went through with
True.
having the Ewing
Yeah.
sarcoma and then the treatments, he may never get back to that level. It's just I know people don't want to hear that, and we're all rooting for him. He's a great, great young man, and he handled his fight with such dignity and everything. But what his body went through was catastrophic. I mean, it's a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
So and maybe it just is going to take longer. I don't know, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you'd love to have him at pre-Ewing sarcoma diagnosis level of play. He's not there. He's not. He's got more muscle on. He looks stronger and all of those things, but it's more than that. And his body went through a lot. And I mean, you're right. When he comes out of this game, just 10 minutes of ice time on the fourth line, no shots generated, one hit in the game. So you got to look at all those things, and I don't know, how long it takes. I don't
Sure.
have
Yeah.
any, we don't have a lot of data on how long it takes to come back from what he dealt with.
Right.
But clearly, he's not back all the way right now, and that's no dig at him, with what he went through. But it's just the fact of the matter. It just is.
Yeah. That's the way it works. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, the Flyers, when it comes to Oscar, are simply thankful that he is healthy, that he is, on his way to,
Life-wise.
life wise, on his way, hopefully, to,
Yeah.
living a normal life outside of hockey, and just able to continue along the path that he had been on. So, and just in terms of his general health, that's the big win there for Oscar. Whether or not there is something that can get his scoring up a bit, I don't know, but it's quite possible that he may just be. That's exactly, you made a great point. It's not necessarily saying that he played badly tonight. It might just be that this is now going to be the way he contributes to this team as a solid fourth line role, and shuts players down, or what have you. Maybe we need to change our expectations. I don't know, but again, the grand picture, great picture, whatever you want to call it, is that he's healthy and that he's back with the team and he's able to play it all. That's the big picture thing with him.
The two players, I'm going to bring up a little positivity here, that I thought played well tonight, two forwards. Couturier in the game. I know they scored just the one goal, but
right.
Couturier had 8 shots on goal. He had 4 block shots. He had 3 hits in the game, a takeaway, and he won 69.2 percentage of his faceoff, 9 and 4 in the faceoff circle. I thought he controlled a lot of the ice when he was out there, and he played with an edge too, because this game warranted it with Konechny irritating people, and then Gudis, and some of the extracurriculars, and then the other guy is Konechny. I thought he was really all over tonight. 6 shots on goal. I don't know how many he attempted, but I thought he was really good in the game. He really had a lot of jump, great assist, and to get those two going at a high level. I thought Drew was good in the game again as usual. He won 7 faceoffs, lost 5, and had 5 shots on goal. Those are the guys that got to lead the way. They really do. But, Atkinson's got to give you a little bit more right now. You got to get a little bit more from Cam Atkinson. 1 shot on goal for Cam Atkinson is not enough.
No, it is.
I need more.
And again, he didn't get credit for the post that he hit, but that goes down as a missed shot. But those were the only 2 shots on his card tonight, the 2 shot attempts. But like you said, that top line, if they get going consistently like this tonight, like 19 shots on goal for the line itself. Yeah. All right, so that's going. So now let's get line 2 going. Again, Morgan Frost comes up. They didn't skate today, so Frost and Farabee and Atkinson didn't even get a practice together. So if that sticks and that starts to click, now you get that second line going, and then you can kind of go from there. But I guess it still remains to be seen how long Brassard's going to be out. But at this point, when you've gone so long with so few goals, it's one game at a time, I think, in terms of who
one shift
his line's starting to go at the time. Yep. But again, I want to see how they do against some of these more human goalies over the next couple of weeks before we get too freaked out about what are we going to do to fix this offense. Let's wait, and we're at the point now where we can go ahead and wait and see 2 more games to see how they fare against some of the teams that are not in the top 5 in the league. So
yeah, I mean, the goalies that we're going to see coming up, we'll see probably Freddie Anderson on Friday, who's been very good for Carolina. Great environment there too to have success with D-zone structure. New Jersey could be either Bernier or Mackenzie Blackwood. The Islanders don't look like the Islanders this year, by the way. They lost again. I think handily as well.
I was thinking for a long time that that start was going to be attributed to their their long road to start the season, and we were going to see the real Islanders, and they haven't arrived yet. They're still out on the road. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, maybe there's a hangover to being on the road that long. I guess there could be.
I suppose there could be. You get into a routine in hockey, whether you're at home or on the road. You get into a routine, and I guess if your routine becomes to be, on the road for 3 weeks, you got to get used to it a little bit being back at home again. I don't know. It is kind of strange.
Constantly packing the Samsonite nonstop. And then, they'll start out the month of December with Shesterkin and the Rangers, good goalie. Tampa, you get Vasilevsky again. Then Colorado, you're going to get some good goaltending there. And then New Jersey. And then you get Vegas with Robin Lehner, Arizona, New Jersey, Montreal. I guess that's Jake Allen for the most part right now, or Caden Primo. Ottawa. Who the hell's playing for Ottawa right now? DeCord. And then Washington, Pittsburgh, Seattle, and San Jose. So, although James Reimer's off to a great start with San Jose as well. Who knows?
You'll be thrilled to hear that every team in the division except the Islanders got a point tonight. Hurricanes are still playing. That game just started, but the Devils lose in the shootout I just lost the screen. There you go. Devils losing the shootout. Penguins win. Capitals beat the doors off the Canadians tonight. You want to go look at a shot chart? Go look at the one for that game. And then the Rangers beat the Islanders 4-1. So at least that didn't go to regulation. The only you talking about the Islanders not being the Islanders?
Yeah,
they lose 4-1 tonight. Only goal of the game for the New York Islanders was Andy Andrioff.
Wow, former Flyer.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, the Canes are out in Seattle right now. I imagine they're just flying here to Philadelphia tomorrow. Not going to go home for Thanksgiving.
There's no point. Yeah, they have to be, really.
You're not going to take a red eye home and then fly tomorrow night to Philly.
They're coming to here, yeah.
Yeah.
We should have them over.
Yeah, I'll give Rob Brindamore an email and tell him he's invited for the old lady's cooking turkey.
It is,
and steaks.
It is hard, and again, most of these guys are not American, so it doesn't bug them as much. But I
get food poisoning eating here.
I have, yeah. I have spent Thanksgiving in 2-star hotels in the minors, and it's not the most fun atmosphere in the world. But
when Thanksgiving dinner is delivered on a plate with Saran wrap, that's no good.
It was 1 year it was cooked the night before and warmed up for us on Thanksgiving, and then the next year it was a buffet in the South Park Mall in Moline, Illinois, which is as good as it sounds. And the mall was closed, but the buffet was open. So you got to walk through this dreary closed mall just to get to this buffet that was serving Thanksgiving dinner.
Unreal. That's awesome.
Those are the kinds of stories that I'm glad I got to spend some time in the minors, because you don't get those stories in the NHL.
Yeah.
You appreciate your plane a lot better when you've been broken down on the side of a road on a bus.
Yeah. Well, working in radio or working in sports, we work holidays all the time.
Oh yeah. Yep.
My wife's like, "You work every holiday." I'm like, "You knew this before we got married." I mean, it wasn't a surprise what I do for a living.
I remember when I had the 1 year I had an after radio job, the only 2 holidays were Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the only difference was you got time and a quarter.
Yeah.
You didn't get off. If it was part of your schedule, you were working. You just got a little more money.
Yeah. You get your bi-monthly insult. That's what I used to call my paycheck.
The station would deliver the Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving, so that was helpful.
Yeah, with the Saran wrap on top of a plate, on a foam plate. Unreal. All right, let's put a wrap on it. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Flyers go down. We'll see if they can end this losing streak coming up Friday against a really good Canes team. They already beat 2-1 this season, and we'll see if they can pull the nose up here, pull back on the stick, and get the nose up.
If you're out on Black Friday, we will be live at the East Food Hall at Wells Fargo Center. I believe we're going to start at 3. I haven't gotten final confirmation on that yet, but I'm assuming Mike is off. So
yeah.
But we'll do the stuff from the concourse, and
he may come in just to preempt me. just to be a pain in my rear end. Mikey Miss might come into work just to preempt me for a half hour.
But it is a 3:30 start time, so we're gonna have a lot of fun in that one, and hopefully come out with another win against a good Carolina team.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, have a great holiday tomorrow. Great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Stuff yourself with turkey and watch football, whatever you do, and have fun. Stay safe. We'll talk to you on Friday on the Flyers. What do we call it? Flyers game day. We'll do that Friday. So have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks a lot.